Hello, welcome to the show. This is Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhower, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, we're discussing getting to know ourselves in recovery. So some things in our recovery journey, y'all, sound so obvious when I say them out loud, but they can take a lifetime for us to work on. Many of you who resonate with me and the show who are out there listening come from, at best, very chaotic childhoods where whatever your needs were, a lot of them didn't get met. You also may have been born with a seeker spirit that has just sort of driven you to seek out knowledge, understanding, betterment, ways that life can be and feel easier, more peaceful, more joyful, more fulfilling, more satisfying. I'm going to read to you today from the language of letting go. I read it this morning. I wasn't planning on doing this episode. I'm recording on January 21st, and it is the January 21st reading from my favorite book, The Language of Letting Go Journal. And it says, wants and needs. Part of taking responsibility for ourselves means taking responsibility for what we want and need and knowing that's okay to do. Learning to tune into ourselves, learning to listen to ourselves is an art. It takes practice. We can use our ability to guess what others want and need and apply that skill to ourselves. What does it sound like we might want and need? What would we guess would help us feel better? What are our feelings telling us? Our body, our mind, our intuition. If we ask, then listen closely, we'll hear the answer. We are wiser than we think, and we can be trusted. What we want and need counts. It's important, and it's valid. It's okay to learn to participate in meeting our own needs. We can learn to identify what we want and need and be patient with ourselves while we're learning. Today, I will pay attention to what I want and need. I will not discount myself. Y'all, we are finding out that so many of our listeners are not subscribed to our show wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps work those funky algorithms so that we can find more and more people that are searching and seeking for the messages that we put out. Make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button to get more videos like this in your feed. I know that when I started to really understand what my childhood meant for me, it was very puzzling to me that I didn't know myself, because I was also a very opinionated person. So if someone asked me, do you want this or that? Do you want Chinese food or do you want pizza? I could give you an answer very clearly. But I also didn't know myself. I felt very cut off, almost like I was cut off at the neck and just a big head walking around, dragging around this body. What did my body need? I had no idea. Coming from a childhood of sexual abuse, I learned to not pay attention to my body. I learned to pretend that it didn't need much because I wasn't in control of what it needed. Some things were just going to happen to me. Getting to know my body as my own, what does it need? What doesn't it need was a big deal. Now I'm going to share this, and to some of you who haven't experienced it, it might sound like, oh my gosh, how unique to Nikki. But it's not unique to me. When I share on this microphone with my own story, even when I don't say it out loud and acknowledge this, nothing is unique about my story. Nothing. I have heard versions of my own story in so many people through the course of my career. So when I'm sharing as me, I am sharing for so many other people that I have met and sat with that I'll never meet and never sit with. I used to pass out as a child and young adult a lot. It wasn't just the heat of the South that didn't do me any favors. I was so disconnected from how I felt, I didn't hydrate myself. That thirsty feeling that is so normal to me now And it's simple. I feel thirsty. I notice that for a few minutes. And then in the next short little bit, I attend to that for myself. I take a sip of a drink I have with me, or I get my booty up. I go get a drink. If I'm driving, I stop the car. I go buy a drink to hydrate myself. Now, for my level of intelligence, my ability to take care of other children when I was young, that doesn't make any logical sense. My needs went so neglected sometimes that part of what I learned was to neglect my own. Very hard to put into words what it is to journey back from that. How strange it is to sit with yourself that you've always known, that you've always been with every moment, and sit in the idea of, I don't really know myself. I don't even know when I'm thirsty. And if I notice I'm thirsty, I don't even know how to hydrate myself. There were years in my 20s where I had to consciously be mindful of, Nikki, drink. Nikki, drink. Nikki, proactively drink. I didn't have the language yet of my wise woman, but that's most certainly who and what I was developing, who and what I was allowing to start to take care of me, to reparent me. And she would step in again and again and again and again. Have a sip of water. Yes, it's okay to stop what you're doing and go get a drink right now. It was a very foundational piece for me. If you've ever struggled to hydrate yourself, I want to encourage you to sit with that with your inner child. In an energy that feels like, oh, sweet girl, oh, sweet boy. Maybe this is my southernness coming out, but oh, honey child, you are so important. You get to take care of yourself. You get to drink. You get to be hydrated. You get to not have headaches. You get to flush things out of your body. You get to feel better than you even know you can. So much of our healing from childhood trauma or neglect or chaos is this strange space of sitting down with ourselves who we've always known, as if to say, hello, hi. The veil has been lifted and I'm seeing you for the first time. Wow. I didn't know you wanted this. I didn't know you needed this. We can work towards what you want and need. When I look at this reading from Melody Beatty on wants and needs, what strikes me is I have a blue highlighter on one of the lines. This is a book I have touched the most for, I think, about 15 years. And younger me didn't write down the year. I wish I would have. But when I see that blue line, I think, wow, there was such a time when I needed that. The line that I have highlighted is, if we ask, then listen closely, we'll hear the answer. We are wiser than we think, and we can be trusted. Therapists who gave me this message early on had to deal with me not getting it at all. I was so angry when someone would tell me, but Nikki, you do know what you want. I was so disconnected, I didn't know how to access it, so it just frustrated me. And I didn't have someone to explain it to me like this. All you have to do, if you're struggling with this too, is value stillness and give yourself some moments each day being still and quiet with yourself. Now, because I have the perfectionism, right? I'd try that at first. And damn it, if I didn't hear a voice immediately, I'd think I'm doing it wrong. What is the point of this stupid blah, blah, blah? I'd say a lot of bad words. I didn't have patience with myself. I didn't know I was supposed to have patience with myself. That was another aha. What do I need from me? Patience, softness, and a trust that if I do things differently, I will get a different outcome. All you have to do is sit quietly and ask. And if you don't hear an answer today, that's okay. Those parts of you may be so smushed down back there in the back of your psyche that they hear your question and they just sort of perk up. and go, is she talking to me? Is he talking to me? That's why we need patience. I can't give you a number. Some of us will have to sit in stillness and ask those questions, maybe a few dozen times, some a few hundred, some maybe a few thousand. And that's not because you're doing it wrong. That can be because you're doing it exactly right. Some parts of us can be crouching in the corners of our mind, hiding, shrinking, trying to be invisible and so small to avoid any more hurt, any more betrayal, that they don't even know that we can trust our own voice. So sit in stillness. Be patient. Extend your hand to those inner child parts that may be scared to answer. An answer is an owning, believe it or not. For me to put my foot down for myself and say, you are thirsty. It is right to go get a glass of water and stop whatever performative thing you're trying to finish or do. You matter and you are important. To those wounded parts of me that my father left, that my adoptive father violated, that my mother wasn't interested in, I learned those very ways of being with myself from them. It's an invitation. Think about someone approaching a stray dog that has been abused and tossed from society. We do that with slowness, with tenderness, with understanding. That we may try to reach out and pet and they may shrink, thinking it's a hit, it's a strike. It's no different for our own psyches. This line with my blue highlighter, we are wiser than we think, and we can be trusted. How does that sound to you right now? Are you in a place where you've done the work to where you can hear the voice say, that's right? And boy, do we know it now. Are you in a place where part of you says, I don't think that's true. I don't think that could be true. Trusting ourselves is one of the last people I'm going to trust. The end line in Melody Beatty's reading for January 21st on Wants and Needs says, today I will pay attention to what I want and need. Notice it's just a paying attention. It's not a I will figure it out. It's not a I will give it to myself. It's just a simple I will pay attention to what I want and need. And then I will not discount myself. If that's all you take from this episode, that is a pretty big nugget. What happens in your life if you commit to never discounting yourself, even when you're confused, even when you don't quite know what's going on? What if you give yourself permission to no longer discount yourself? Now, this brings me to the other resource I want to show you. If you do not have Melody Beatty's The Language of Letting Go journal book, please get it. It is not a book you read cover to cover. It is one you can choose the date. It's a 365 book, or you can just flip to it and let intuition and the universe bring you to what you're seeking. It's a wonderful resource for sensitive people. This reading brought me to one of the exercises I have in my new offering. It is my tool. It is my tangible that I have made for you. I call them patternscapes. They are entirely me in a box, y'all. I have 25 art cards in this box and 25 exercises that interplay with the art cards. This reading reminded me of my experience card 11 in my Patternscapes deck. And I'm going to read to you from the guidebook that I've written in the deck. Experience card number 11, likes and dislikes. This may sound obvious, but sometimes it needs to be said. We each are allowed to like what we like and dislike what we dislike. Preferences, affinities, interests, disinterests are allowed. This is, at least in part, what makes us ourselves and no one else. Go be you today. I guide you to choosing an art card and invite you to notice what you like and dislike about it. I invite you to notice how this permission feels and what it says about who you are in this season. What are you drawn to, repelled from? What do you dislike or like? In the art that I have for you, is it a shape, line width, certain colors touching, a pattern? These are muscles that we develop on our healing journey, y'all. And when we do it with non-threatening things, when we lift those weights with things that aren't scary, that are accessible, like a piece of art, we can then take those muscles out of the art practice and into the real world realm. The journal entries for this experience card are, what does this activity bring up for you? What did you feel? What did this show you about yourself? It might sound like the simplest thing in the world. What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you want? What do you need? And our perfectionistic threads that run through highly sensitive people may tell us that, damn it, we should perfectly know that. Please let yourself walk the journey. What a simple muscle to flex, and yet a powerful one. Being raised by narcissism, being raised by people with addiction problems, makes you a people pleaser. And in all the pleasing we do outwardly in an attempt to get our needs met when we're younger, winds up being that dismissal Melody Beatty writes about of our own self. Healing is so much of turning inward and giving a great permission to what is sometimes wildly simple. You get to like, you get to dislike, you get to want and need, you get to know yourself as you've always been, and yourself who is evolving, changing, growing, and letting go of what no longer or never did serve. I am wondering if you are feeling overwhelmed by life's chaos. And if you, like me, have had a lifetime of craving deep inner calm. My new Breakthrough Peace program combines my 30 Days to Peace course with a brand new online community and a group coaching program all in one. We meet twice a month to meet you right where you are in your peace struggle points so that you can have more peace immediately. You get to reach the inner peace that you have craved and that you have deserved all of the moments of your life. This transformative program is designed for highly sensitive people, trauma survivors, and anyone battling anxiety, overthinking, or a relentless critical voice. Through 30 daily guided lessons, meditations, and simple actionable exercises, you will retrain your mind, body, and nervous system to let go of stress, embrace self-compassion, and cultivate true, deep, lasting inner peace, no matter what is happening with your external world. If you're tired of practicing exhausting hypervigilance, if you're tired of people-pleasing your way through life, of over-processing and overthinking, then this program will guide you to practice calm, resilience, and self-acceptance instead. You will practice thinking instead of overthinking, being still instead of being frantic. Join the hundreds who've already reclaimed their inner peace and discover a life that feels lighter, calmer, and more in tune with the authentic you. Sign up now for the Breakthrough Peace program and take your first step toward peace today. Visit emotionalbadass.com/peace to find out more now. Click the link in the description. Thank you for showing up and listening and giving meaning to my life's work by being out there receiving what me and my small team work so hard to put out. You matter. You count. Beautiful phrasing from a years long and gone boundaries course with sacred selfishness. You get to explore and embody a sacred selfishness that hurts no one, but helps you give you what you've always wanted and needed. I am an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass, and together we are where Moxie meets mindful. Till next time, take care and let yourself like and dislike. And I'll see you right here next week for a brand new episode. Bye-bye.